and said, to make life easy for you, here are some people who would really like to work. Of course, you can choose to select those people or not and give me some different names. Both of them wrote back and said, we take the list that you have given and approve it. And so from those names, I put them into slots, and I'd like to just ask you all if you would take a look at the assignments.
Thank you.
Any questions from the board?
Not a question, but thank you for your great work with both parties. When they say, yeah, what you gave us is great, that
It was
points
good
to a
work
very
with them too, 'cause
very
it made it
smooth
very
process.
smooth.
Thank you. That's great news.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve the poll workers as presented?
I'll move to approve the poll workers as presented.
Okay.
A second?
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Karen, thank you.
I do have a sheet for you to sign.
May I?
Yes, of course.
Director Duncan?
I'm gonna pass those around to Linda so she can sign.
All right, so I will head into office updates while you all do your signing. The first update, I believe you are already updated on, but since he's here and he loves attention, I just wanted to say that Devin graduated with his Sarah certificate.
Yes, Devin.
I loved the photograph.
Yes, they were. Those were.
I
Really
loved the
good pictures.
photograph. Joyous.
So that happened at the Election Center Conference in Salt Lake City. And the journal article that they put out, that organization puts out, the Journal of Election Administration Research and Practice, that came out at the conference as well, and we have an article in it. So that was a very productive conference.
What's the article about?
The article is about our response to Helene. Good question. Some more kudos. Negi was recognized for her strategy and innovation project by the county, and there is a video out there on County Central that I think you should take a look at. Negi also likes the attention over there in the corner. So it's been nice to see staff get some recognition. Some other updates. National Voter Registration Day is September 16th, and we are partnering with the libraries they're going to have a voter registration week, so they'll have voter registrations and conduct a drive for us all week. And CAPE is also working on a video for us, so you'll see that coming. They have been putting out some great videos, so I'm excited to see what they come up for that. Lots of humor these days, which I think we need. The hiring process, so we have 2 open positions right now. The clerk to the board sitting right next to me feels awkward, but and then our absentee position. For the clerk to the board, we've gone through the interview process and have made an offer. So we're getting close on that one. And then the absentee position, that one is posted. So that one, if anyone knows people who would be qualified for that position, please spread the word so we can get that one filled too. Another update is about our boardroom at 35 Woodfin. We have an update about the AV installation, so that's what we're waiting for at the boardroom is the installation there. The equipment is with the vendor has it, and installation is scheduled for the week of the 15th. So
This month.
this month, September 15th. So installation should happen then, and then training will happen after that. That being said, these are technical installations. There do tend to be issues. And so we've worked with the county, with the facilities, Oscar, the ID Bureau, who is in this building now, and same with IT, sharing the building, to make sure that we have this boardroom available until that one's finished. So we've secured this space for as long as we need it, basically. The next update I wanted to give was ballot proofing. So we have an election coming up, and we have proofed the ballots for that election already. That's a big process where ballots are generated by the vendor, the county looks over it, the state looks over it, then we do it again. We do 3 rounds of that. So that's complete, which means that we should have sample ballots for the Weaverville, Woodfin Water and Sewer District up next week. Marianne?
When does staff do the testing?
The machine testing. That is on our board calendar. October 7th is when we do the...
No, I'm talking
the
about when staff
public-
does it
oh,
before we do it.
Yes, we will do that previously. And we only have 11 precincts, so that no problem, we'll get that completed. And we test every single one of those machines.
I understand, if I understand it correctly, ES&S provides a test deck of
Yeah.
ballots?
So they provide, how we do it is, we can elect to get a test deck, and we also create our own off of the ballot on demand system. So we're testing all types.
So you do add into that test deck?
Mhm.
Okay.
So you elected to use that too?
Yes.
You're electing to do both?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because we want machine marked and hand marked.
Yeah.
Good
Very good.
questions. And then the last update, I am asking Ryan to do that, which is just updating you on our progress with the ADA surveys, which is one of the big things that we do every other year, and also what we have, what's coming out of those ADA surveys.
Okay. So yeah, we every year, every other year on even numbered year or odd numbered years, we do ADA surveys, and we also do voting agreements with all of the 80 precincts. So the voting agreement, that just consists of an agreement between us and the voting location, making sure we have the same dates together for the election, when we're going to drop off equipment, when we'll pick up equipment, making sure that everyone will have access to the voting location when they need to. And we also do the ADA inspection, which is we go out and we test the physical accessibility of the voting location, regarding the American with Disabilities Act, and we make sure everything is up to date with that. And currently, we've completed 75 of the 80 precincts. All the locations that are going to be used for the municipal election, they're already taken care of. So we just got those 5 precincts hanging out there. 2 of them we have verbal agreements. I just haven't been able to get with them to actually sign off on everything and make it completely official. And the other 3 we're still working on a little bit. But and I'd be happy to share those 5
Is that
with you
8
if you'd like.
total?
5.
It's just 5 that we
5.
don't have an agreement with for 2026 yet.
Are those going to be new precincts? Or
Good
different
question.
precincts?
They won't. One of them will be a new precinct of the 5. Actually, 2 are going to be new precincts.
New locations?
Yes.
And so 3 of them are previous locations we've used?
Let me make sure I'm giving you the correct information. Okay, so actually 4 of them will be new locations. 4 of the 5 that I haven't gotten yet are going to be new locations, and I'll be happy to.
And those are locations that changed because of Helene?
Partly, yes.
You know,
yeah,
either
yes.
damage or people change their minds?
Yeah,
or-
yeah, one of them has changed because of Helene. The building we typically use, it's housing equipment that was used from buildings that were damaged during Helene. One of them was a private school that just decided it was too much. Having an election there was just too much during the school day. And the other one was a fire department that was damaged during Helene, and that took away a lot of our voting space, so we're going to have to move out of that. And the other one was, well, they just said they weren't interested in being a location anymore, so I don't know exactly why.
Okay.
But,
Very good. Thank you.
and oh, you're welcome. And sometimes we do have to get like one of these. It looks like we're probably going to have to get a location out of precinct because I've tried to find every possible tax-supported structure in that precinct in every church, and like no one's just willing to do it. But
Is that North Asheville?
yes, that is North Asheville. Yeah, yes, yeah. But
What a surprise.
But I'm still working on
Yeah.
one final location. I'm working with them. I'm trying to get in there. That's my last hope
Yeah.
to get inside precinct.
Okay, but North
Yeah.
Asheville's a big location. You're not talking about the early voting site, you're talking about a precinct.
Just
Right.
just precinct. Yeah.
Wow. Tough neighborhood.
It is.
I presume we'll hear the follow-up on those 5 at some point.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to add, so this is an update, just a progress update, but every single voting location change or transfer has to be passed by this board.
Yeah.
So Brian will come back, he'll give you
We'll vote.
maps, he'll talk about reasons and answer any questions that you have.
Great.
I will say that the due state board administration, so once the board passes, these go to the state board for approval. And they are looking at that making sure that you're exhausting the opportunities for things that are in precinct and the different qualifications for that. So we'll make sure that we provide you all of that so that it's easy to.
And it would be
transfer
very
the
helpful to
state.
have a map when we do
Oh,
that.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we can tell how close the voting polls are together.
Yeah. And fortunately, the election law does allow us to go just outside the precinct if no suitable
Yeah.
voting locations are inside of the precinct itself. So.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty common for us. Now, the precincts that we need for the municipal election coming up,
Done.
Yeah, those are done.
yes, don't worry about those. These are ones for next year.
Right.
Right.
We already voted on the others.
Yes.
We remember.
We remember.
All right, thank you.
Oh,
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Appreciate all your work on
You're welcome.
this. Thank you.
And that's it for office updates.
All right, I believe we have on the warehouse relocation discussion, we have some guests here to share with us. So Tim and Robert.
I thought Nagy was going to have to leave.
I can kind of set us up with some background
Please.
if you would like.
And do you have that form for Karen, Courtney, the poll workers?
Right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here it is, sweetie. Thank you.
Sorry, Tim, I didn't mean to. First of all, thank you for joining us today, and Director Duncan.
Yes, so just to keep us all on the same page, we have been talking about facilities in different ways for quite some time. And when I started as director in 2020, the facilities was a topic then too. It's been something that has been a topic for elections for a long time. It's not new. And we agree as staff that a consolidated facility that's central to the county is something that would be the ideal situation for election services. And oh, thank you.
That's probably why Courtney
yeah,
can't hear
Courtney
you.
can't hear me.
Thank you. I've been straining.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks, and please keep me on that. I know that I have a soft voice. So that has been our direction. That's been in our business plan, been part of our goals. That's of what we've communicated. We know that there are constraints to things. At 77 McDowell Street was not a great place for us. So when we moved to the interchange building, this building, we were pretty happy about things. And a big part of that is having enough space and being able to be less and less fragmented. There's a lot of reasons. There is the expansion of our personnel. We even have a bigger board than we had then. We had a 3-member board then. We have a huge volume of poll workers. They require training by law. We do a lot of different functions, and we change throughout the year. Registration, candidate filing, our board meetings, petitions, providing IDs, voter information, absentee by mail, early voting, election day, provisionals. We go on and on. We have a lot of tasks that change. We're a really dynamic department in what we do and the size, our personnel level, and that keeps us really efficient. And we know that election laws keep changing, and the pace of that change is also increasing. So we need to focus on being resilient. And we think that a consolidated facility supports that. So again, we think that we know that there are also constraints too, but I want to remind of what our ideal is and why it's there. When we moved to the interchange building, that was great. Moving to 35 Woodfin has been a little bit of a challenge, as we have discussed in many meetings, because of that fragmentation piece and the space constraints. We are talking today about the storage facility that's, the board's going to get mad at me for using that word. I was just read it off the screen. Our warehouse. So we have a working warehouse. We have people actually at the warehouse. So, and I want to make sure that we're focused on moving forward and looking for what opportunities we have to get closer to our ideal. I just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page with any information. It's my little history lesson about about what we have done over the past 5 years, because we're a new board. Are there any questions or comments or wanting to fill in before I turn it over to Tim and Robert and Mike Mace, who I'm really happy that they're here to talk to us about next steps and where we go from here.
Where's Robert? Who is Robert?
He's right there.
Oh, you're there. Wonderful. It's good to see you, Rob.
He's keeping the column between, and Mike Mace is in the back there in the black shirt.
So welcome to you, Mr. Love. Thanks for being here.
I'm glad to be here, and to those that I've met informally, good to meet you formally. Courtney and Glenda in your formal capacities.
Yes.
So today, we are here to talk specifically about, and Jake, this is for you, the warehouse component. So please, what I would ask of y'all as we talk through this, our intent is not to slight or undermine or downplay the role, and so I certainly don't want that to be the case, especially as we're talking, if I slip up and say something different, or if Robert does the same. I hope that we can all understand that, Robert has spent a number of hours working with this staff, Korean team, to understand the need. Mm-hmm. And so we understand the working need. Many of us have worked on nights, not as many as the staff, so I'm not trying to take that claim, but we understand. And so that's part of what we're trying to communicate today, and so hopefully we can do that. So that said, the scope of what we're talking about today, I appreciate Corrine sharing kind of a history lesson. The scope of what we're here today to talk about, though, is specific to warehousing, storage, and as we continue in this conversation, sort of what some potential temporary options are. So that's the scope. I'm going to ask Robert to speak and walk us through the slides. Just as a reminder, so Robert has been before this board, before a prior version of this board, presented a very similar update, so you're going to see some repeat information, so make sure we're all on the same page. Additionally, Robert went before the Board of Commissioners just a couple weeks ago and presented much of this information, so it's a little repetitive. The thing that we seek to do is to try to, generally, make sure that our Board of Commissioners has information at or in front of a board like yourself. Like, we never want to get in front of our board. But last year, given the concern, we want to make sure we were being responsive, so we did kind of do that out of sequence, but that's okay, no harm, no foul. And so we'll share a little bit more today. If there are questions that go outside of the scope of this storage and warehousing component, I'd ask that you reserve those, not for Robert, but for me, and we can sort of tackle those as we go. Ms. Boston, did you have a question?
I was curious about who is the planning committee making the decisions? If they're being presented to the board of commissioners, who tells the board how things are going to be and how it's planned out, and who is that committee?
Sure. And depending on the scope of the question, I mean, there's multiple avenues for where decisions are made in county government. And so sometime in 2018, don't quote me on dates, there was a plan done to look at facilities across the county, to look for opportunities. That was a plan that was adopted by the Board of Commissioners. Additionally, on an annual basis, there's a process where we go through a CIP, or a capital improvement plan. That's how we adopt facility improvements in a given year, but also in out years. That plan, I think, reaches for about 10 years, with an acknowledgement that years 2 through 9 or 10, very subject to change, as things change. So there's a variety from a very specific building by building perspective. There's not necessarily a planning committee seeking approval from the Board of Commission. From a governance perspective, we look to our Board of Commissioners to establish policy priorities, and then we look to our staff to execute those priorities.
I see.
And those staff are asked to work with their stakeholders, whoever those might be, to identify solutions. Those solutions may not always be perfect or the exact solutions that we're looking for. I recognize that. I'm sure that some of y'all will remind us of that this evening. But that's the general process for how.
So staff facilitates what the board has as policy, sets as policy.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So that's just.
Thank you for that explanation. That helps understand.
And anytime there are questions, I think our team is more than available, and we'll be glad to share with y'all. So just let us know. That said, I've talked enough. I'll introduce Robert Brown. Robert Brown is one of our project managers here with Buncombe County. He has a number of projects in addition to this one. We won't get into all of that, but he'll provide the update. If there are questions, we can take those at the end, hopefully, if there's anything specific. Go ahead, Robert.
Okay, thanks. Hi, Board. I appreciate you having me here. Last week I had a little surgery. So if I don't say something clearly, please don't hesitate to ask me what I said. Surgery mixed with country, kind of weird voice, shaky at best. To remind you who I am and what I've done in my past, I'm a registered architect for the last 32 years, continuous, of which the first half of my career was owning my own A&E company and managing projects in the private sector and public. The remaining time period, I've worked as a project manager both for East Carolina University as a director there, and now for the last 3 years as a project manager for the county, of which it's been a privilege to be able to work for this county. The best employer I've ever dealt with, including myself. So, and when we talk about this facility, it is both a warehouse in operation for some of the functions, and it is also a storage facility for other functions. It is the simple name that it got early before clarifications were made about the different functions. I'd like to go to the next slide, please. So the agenda is we're basically going to discuss is the storage needs, the options to meet those needs, what are our next steps and the approximate timeline, and then relocation priorities. And when I say priorities, that would be relative to the Board of Elections and elections. And then we'll end with questions. So 40 county departments, which basically broke into about 45 groups, have been interviewed numerous times, including elections. They've also filled out written questionnaires, of which we've gone back and forth to get to the answers. Truthful, Elections has provided a large amount of information proactively in the beginning and throughout. It's a complicated function, as you're aware, since y'all are on the board. So they've helped walk us through the pathway of clarity, and we do feel like we have a lot of really good formed up information usable. 28 of the 45 groups interviewed identified storage needs. 17 groups identified that they had adequate storage where they were for at least the next 10 to 15 years. So that's just a list of the folks that have needs. We don't need to read them, but you can see a number of those are still throughout the county. And here are the groups in which have identified they do not have needs. All right, so the departments identified in advanced planning with the largest amount of need operationally are listed. The first two items are more specific to elections. The functional operational section of and storage is around 28,560 square feet, nominally speaking, for elections, and the training area and the mock elections multipurpose room area, which are actually separated spaces, dividable spaces as well.
Is that elections also? That
Yes,
is
ma'am.
elections.
Those spaces are being developed to serve elections, and off election years and off election heavy periods of time, the rest of the county will be able to use it. So the entrances are from a public location, and you don't have to go through elections to get into them. But from the private location, they can go directly into them as well. But they are for the priority of elections, and that's around 3,600 square feet rounded. You can see the Sheriff's Department has about 13,466. EMS has 9,592. Libraries, 8,912. Mobile and preparedness teams combined are around 8,852 square feet. Surplus and records management combined are around 7,840 square feet. The other departments go from 98 square feet up to 500 to 1,000 square feet. So this is just the aggregate of the largest spaces, and what it also shows you are a lot of the working spaces. Meaning they actually, almost all of these will actually have offices and staff in place during the operational day.
In the warehouse.
In the full facility, not within elections warehouse, with the exception of you do have staff that will be there permanently also.
Yeah.
Both on cycle and off cycle elections. Sir? Right, let's go to the next slide. So, option to meet the needs. The basic developed program right now, after reviewing everybody that said they need it, everybody that said they don't, kind of going through and vetting that information with them, it gives us a facility of a little over 100,000 square feet. The options to meet that needs, build a fully new building, brand new building, which is what this study actually is doing, is reviewing it under that premise. Buy an existing building and renovate it, lease existing building and renovate. So those are kind of the three avenues we have. When we talk about the footprint, would it be a single building or would it be multiple buildings to accommodate the needs for the total facility, not just elections? Estimated cost on a brand new building runs about $350 to $400 a square foot. That includes everything. A lot of people discuss square footage as just the cost of the construction. But we have a huge amount of testing, a huge amount of survey work, a huge amount of architects and engineering work that we have to pay for. So when we take that total cost, that's what that number associates with. Construction cost is less. If we purchase a building, it runs around $90 to $140 for a newer facility per square foot. And then you have to add a upfit design cost, which is usually design and construction of usually about $75 to $125 per square foot to make the space usable by the folks, right? And then a lease building, this is a basic utility pricing. You get a lot more commercial level, it jumps up about $7 a square foot, but $8.50 to $10 per square foot, which on a facility this size means a lease of about $850 to $1 million a year annually. Okay. All right, so next steps. Post the advanced planning completion of what we're doing right now, evaluate our best option to pursue. Decide whether it's better to do a brand new building, buy existing and renovate, or lease facilities, or a combination thereof, right? Build this, lease that. The study, information gained from the study allows us to observe every condition, because it tells us what your programs are for elections and for all the other departments. So we will establish the best option. And from that, we will basically generate a project budget, right? That budget has to go before our board for moving forward. At 100,000 plus square feet of facility at the cost you saw, you can understand it's an expensive proposition.
Has there been a value put on the construction of this facility yet?
Just as I've shown in the different
much was
variables there. Ma'am?
How much was it?
They don't have a total, Courtney.
They don't have a total.
It's per square foot.
Okay.
Can we go back to the slide back where, I just want to be
But
sure.
it's between $300
There.
and $400 a square foot for a 100,000 square foot building.
Which is about 35 million, just
That's
roughly.
great. If we build it all brand new on virgin soil, right? So, but the shakiness of my answer has to do with there's so many variables that you can choose
I
or
understand,
combinations. So it's hard at this moment, but okay,
With the different needs.
yeah. So if we choose a new building, I've already got the budget for design in place. It was approved in fiscal year 24. So if my board approves that, yeah, okay, it's going to take that and keep going, we'll begin design work. If it's purchase a building, then we will continue to review properties. Since this process started, we have also been reviewing properties as opportunities. And that is both for purchase and both for leasing. All right. All right, this is an estimated key date schedule. So hopefully September, October, hips when I raise them up so I can actually see some. September, October of 25, we anticipate completing the advanced planning portion, which is what we've been working on for about the past year. In December of 26, if the project is approved to move forward, then we'll include the submission in the fiscal year 27 budget request. So December is when we ask for it to come out in July, basically, of 27. February of 27, we would relocate, not to this facility, but to a location. We would relocate elections at 50 Cox at the warehouse. And we've already relocated the ID Bureau, which they're upstairs, and at when you enter in, we did that a few weeks ago. And then during that, at the end of that same month, the Cox Avenue facilities would be available for the removal and the affordable housing project that's slated for that location to be able to move forward in February, at the end of February of 27. In September of 27, we would have our plans ready to be able to bid the project. And like I said, we've already got the funding for the design work. If all that comes to fruition, then November of 27, we would start the construction or the new equation, whichever it is, start the construction of the new facility. If it's just a brand new facility, that would be about 18 months of construction, which would put us about May of 29 finishing. After we commission the building out, it takes a few months. That we would probably start moving some of the departments in July of 29. Next. Okay, so priorities for elections warehouse services and equipment relocation. This is kind of a grouping of information that I've written down based on sort of a recap meeting that we've had a few months ago with elections, in which we were fortunate to have the majority of their department there to be part of this conversation. Location, so proximity to the highway and roads, proximity to voting locations, easy to find, commute time between buildings, on-site driving pattern, i.e. a loop at the facility to potentially get you in and out more logically. Systems and amenities, have enough parking, facility security, number of external users, so you have to kind of accommodate for that. Garage doors and dock access, those are actually different locations. Connectivity, strong internet. Power redundancy, so if power goes down, the operations of this facility keep going 24/7. Climate control. Other considerations, consider with this move from Cox also to maybe make Allport move it all at the same time, consolidate them, both the storage functions and this operational warehouse function. So you're kind of doing it all at once. And then you relocate them to the final facility all at once as well. Scalability, so you can move it around and make it a little versatile inside your own space. Give a training space adequate to accommodate Well, there are a number of different ways in which your training is communicated. But basically, be able to do 2 30-person training sessions simultaneously on any days of the week that you would desire, and also be able to set up a mock voting from start to finish location. Robert Brown comes in, right, and then I end up coming out after doing that. And they utilize, that to make sure that the slated operation functions with the people that they have in place. Of course, they've won awards for that, so I suspect they'll get that right.
I think so.
So, term, good lighting in the parking, security, safety.
What's term mean? What is that?
How long will you be there?
Okay.
I'll explain that. It actually has a little bit more at the last one on that. Enough restrooms for elections night, because y'all have a heck of a lot of people there on that night.
Not if, when.
Yeah, yeah. So all of that is very good and functional, and a whole bunch of that information actually is in our programming, very much so. Yes, ma'am.
Is there any kind of a map that's available that shows the proximity to highways and roads and voting locations?
Or you haven't identified the place yet, is that correct?
No, they've identified it.
Actually,
That
we do have a
Oh.
location that the study is looking at, and that is right off of Canoe Lane, off of River Road, which is where our fleet facility is being constructed right now, where the AB Tech Fire Training Center is, and also where the sheriff's gun training facility is.
That would be the temporary place?
No, ma'am,
No,
what's the temporary?
that's where the study is.
No,
Right,
this is
right.
just,
For
this
the-
is just for the
for the
permanent
permanent.
facility.
What road is
with
that
you.
again?
So
I'm
was that
sorry.
the one that was 2945 Riverside Drive? That was the earlier address that we got.
Got it.
Robert, I think there's confusion about whether we're talking about,
Yeah.
basically, these priorities are important for both. But I believe Robert is saying
For
these
the-
are our for
No,
our
I was asking if there's a map to the Canoe Lane location showing the proximity to highways and roads and proximity to voting locations. Because it's hard to visualize that as far as, how that would work.
I don't have one in my back pocket tonight, but I can certainly generate one.
Okay.
Be glad to. Yeah.
And then back to the confusion I'm having about,
The last line item,
huh?
the last line item.
The temporary location.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Temporary location is not determined,
that's the question I have.
but we have determined when we're able to do it. And that's relative to their operation, and that is February of '27. We've also been asked that when we do this move, just because your building's ready in '29, we've been asked to let them operate in the space in which they are temporary for a longer period of time, asking for an appropriate move in about February of '31. And by that time, all the other functions of the facility would have been in and operational for about a year.
So when might we know when this if these conditions are part of the temporary move, which is location next to, are all these things going to be considered in our temporary move as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah,
You-
I think
you-
that's for
fine.
Mr. Love
So
to answer.
let me tell you what we're looking at for both.
Mhm.
Right, because if I move you from where you are now, we kind of have to know what we're using, where you can be housed temporarily for it until 31-ish.
4 years, right.
And so that presupposes some growth as well, right? You have to accommodate that. It doesn't presuppose 15 years of growth, 10 to 15 years of growth, but it does have some. Right now, you currently use about, I'll just round it, 22,000 square feet in all the different facilities that you have, meaning not all the facilities you have, in Cox Avenue warehouse and Allport storage, and where you go into the different locations to get to do their training. Multiple locations they've been utilized in the past. All right, Van, yes, ma'am?
The voting machines, are they into this 21,000 square foot?
Yes, ma'am.
Space?
Cox Avenue, yes, ma'am.
We get to hug those and take them with us, keep them safe, right?
The hugging part is on y'all. I'm gonna give you the space to do it, okay?
Just ask me, thank you.
So in the advanced planning, the draft building allocation that we're looking at right now, we're looking at 32,000 square feet of space, which is 28,456, and you gotta round that one up or down, because hallways and things change stuff. So that's about 6,000 or 7,000 square feet of space for growth, and what you have plus growth. And it also gives you about a 3,600 square foot floor print of training and multipurpose modulation space, which meets a lot of what you've been using. The difference is that elections is the primary controller of the space. It's always been the other way around so far. They've had to kind of get logged in to get approved and all that. Now there'll be others checking when it's available, right? And they're more in charge of it. All right, area increase intended to resolve unmet existing operational needs, space inadequacies, training space versatility, and 10 years of operational growth. And the truth is that's really 10 to 15 years of operational growth and storage increase projections. Advanced planning parking allocation request is around 100 to 120 spaces. That's not your day-to-day. Your day-to-day is a pittance of that. That is your elections night, when after everything's shut down and everybody has to come home. That's when you have to have that large of a parking area. In a regular operation, about 20 spaces actually exceeds your needs. Given a loading dock area, meaning if you wanted to bring something in, transfer truck level, loading dock area, but also a covered pickup and drop-off space directly into your elections, which would, the way it's programmed is to be able to allow 4 box trucks, which are your primary use vehicle, 4 to be undercover and operationally loading and unloading at the same time. So that's the area allocation being considered. That entrance exit is only utilized by elections. A loading dock would be building operational, right? So even though the entire building is actually going to be a secure facility, the space in which is utilized by elections will actually kick up a notch along with the sheriff's space, and it will be classified as a high security. So once it's operational, my badge will not work anymore.
One question. I know you're still in the design phase, but are there separate buildings connected or separate buildings, or is it all in one huge building? Or has that been decided? I know.
No, not yet. Well, yes, advanced planning, that's kind of what you do. Let me give you a little bit of image of that, but it's all conceptual, right? So it's basically in square footage, right? At this size of facility and the way these functions need to work, giving yourself some private entrance and giving others public entrance, segregating those. Then what that says is this facility, because the property out there actually has the roadway and then it drops off. And then the road, Riverside Drive, is actually at the elevation that the lower level is. So what it says is that the probable facility would probably, and I mean that probably, be a couple of stories.
Stories?
Stories, yes. So it would basically round it off a 50,000 square foot floor plate at 2 levels.
Would it be possible at all that you could design the Board of Elections in a separate building? Or connected somehow, but closed off from the rest of the facility?
Well, you know what?
So we could have.
By
a
way of
little bubble?
security, you actually are completely that way by way of the programming. I won't be able to go into your space. You will have your own parking space, you will have your own drop-off. It'll all be secure. Operationally, from the inside, from where the public will come in, you can't get from that public space into elections without elections allowing you in. If you're any other department in the county, you're unable to go into elections space. All of elections space will be consolidated into their own space, which will also be connected to their training and to their mock space, which they can enter from their area, but I can't enter into their area.
Right.
And the public can actually enter, or would be able, this is only in paper, meaning in words.
I understand.
The public would be able to come into the public space. I am Robert Brown, I'm here for training. Yes, sir, go through that door, right? And then so actually the public can go into that training space. Kareen and her staff can come in from their space, and no one ever has to cross the audit problem. It's segregated the whole time by way of what they've asked for in the construct of it being a multi-use facility.
And there would be solid walls in between these different spaces?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Not only for security, but also
Fire.
for fire. Yes, ma'am. Now, for different folks that it is a storage facility, there are a lot of departments that's all it is. They'll take their records and store there until they're ready to be disposed of as they're allowed to. Because there's a shredding facility and scanning facility in here as well for those that document processing as they're able to come in, including elections capable of using that as well. Those folks will be chain link separated with security badging into each of their space. Now that's floor to ceiling, but we don't need to build a solid wall. I just need it to be secure and climatized. Elections is different. They are completely separated, but within their space, they will have separations inside their space as well, as you do now in the warehouse. And we want to make that so that it is probably kind of a fencing condition of complete encapsulation. And that's so that when they need to grow in one direction or another, it's a lot easier process to do it. And it gives visual continuity throughout their space. So that's an internal security as well. I can't sneak behind the corner and pull out some ballots, right? Why? I got cameras everywhere, and you can see through everything inside.
Don't plug into machines either.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to say that. So that's if you go ahead. All right. I'll continue to take questions. Yes, ma'am.
For you, and this is probably a question for you, that is Riverside Drive, I've heard word that, thank you, by the way, for presenting before I get into my questions. Appreciate your time on it. Is Riverside Drive a floodplain, in a floodplain? I mean, we're pretty sensitive to what just happened with Hurricane Helene. And if we're building a brand-new warehouse/storage building, How does that fit with regard to floodplains?
Okay, so it's relative to where you are, but we believe in the site well enough to build our fleet building there.
That's not my question, though.
But it is the answer in a sense, because where we are constructing, it is not in a flood area.
Okay.
Around it, there are areas that fall within the flood zone. However, you have more than one ingress to get to that place without entering into the flood zone. That's how we did it during Helene.
And so during Helene, you had access to that area? I mean, you said how
We
we
did
it.
not that day, we did the next day.
To give an example, and I don't know how many folks were familiar, but we actually set up large-scale operations where folks came in to offer mutual aid, including the National Guard and others. A base camp is what we refer to that as. That was set up nearby, so certainly a site that is a challenge like many, but very quickly was remediated. There are,
Is it already county-owned, the property?
that's correct, yes.
It is. How many acres? Do you know
Oh,
approximately, ballpark?
We can, why don't we take that as an answer?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to,
That's okay.
and you're just talking about where the facility is that?
How
right?
much the county owns there?
Oh, the total, I will pull that along with the map.
Okay, thank you.
It's a large site. And
Yeah.
I did want to take, I want to hear questions, that's why we're here. But there's a few slides that Robert did a nice job, but would like to just touch on quickly. And so if we could go back to the very last slide. Devin, come on. And a lot of this is just to make sure that we have an opportunity to all kind of get on the same page, so I want to make sure that we take that opportunity. So these numbers that Robert has specified, 32,000 square feet, you know, this is a rough estimate. The process to get here involved Robert and our consultants working directly with departments to literally talk about all your boxes, all your storage, your machines. And so there's an actual, the reason you get this weird precision with some of these numbers, 21,981, is because of the formula to calculate the amount of space needed. Additionally, there's a factor added on top of that to account for future growth. So it's actually more than current. And so I say that so you know that there's a big source document behind it. Corrine and team had multiple opportunities with Robert to go back and forth and talk about misunderstandings and clarify that data. So, but I want to make sure, especially for our new members, that you're aware that we didn't just, it wasn't just Robert pulling a number out of a hat. So I just wanted to clarify that. It was worked collaboratively with election staff and all the other county departments. I would like to jump back, if we could, Devin, 2 slides to the timeline. And I apologize for jumping around. There were a few things I just wanted to make sure we touched on. In particular, on this slide. So this is a timeline. We know that timelines move. But the purpose of this was to understand what are the key points of conflict, if you will, as it relates to a warehouse construction and elections operations. I've said to Corrine and team many times, I've said it to Glenda, I'll say it to y'all in a public meeting, our commitment to the Board of Elections is to make sure that you have a place to conduct your operations on election night. That
Looking for a little more than
Yeah,
that.
more than
Yeah.
A little more than that.
We work throughout
Yeah.
the year,
And/or
year-round,
Understood, and please.
month to month.
And so my attempt in this is to give you, we've looked at the schedule with Corrine and team to understand, like, what are the dates we need to be in front of? When do we need to be moved? That's what we've done.
Okay, wait, I got to take a timeout. I've been silent for a long time. I have yet to see a strategic plan for the Board of Elections of Buncombe County, North Carolina. We had space allocated to us on Cox Avenue. A building was going to be constructed, it was going to house us, and it was going to fill all of our needs. That plan was changed because the county decided to build affordable housing on Cox Avenue. When that decision was made by the county, there was no new strategic plan for the Board of Elections. How do I know? I was on the Board of Elections, and I've never seen such a strategic plan. I look at this, and I see another piecemeal job. And I've kind of had it with this. I don't want to hear about other departments. I want to hear about the Board of Elections. Personally, I don't care about the space needs of other departments. They're county departments. We are a state agency, and I expect to be viewed as such and treated as such. Keep us separate from these other departments. Don't lump us in with county departments. Understand the difference, which is already documented in an existing memorandum of understanding between this board and Buncombe County. Where this is going is unacceptable to this member of the board. There are 4 other members that you can convince. But what I see is Band-Aid after Band-Aid after Band-Aid. And that's not acceptable. I need Buncombe County to do a better job of planning for our facilities' needs than I have been seeing. We are sitting right here at 59 Woodfin Place, despite the fact that we were forced to move to 35 Woodfin Street on May 1st. Facilities has been letting us down for a long time. That's got to stop. Before we proceed with any of this stuff, I want to see a strategic approach that the county has in mind for elections. When it gets to 2031, what is it going to look like? That's not that far down the road. You're talking about accomplishing an awful lot in an incredibly compressed period of time, considering that you've got to do planning and construction. It's not my first rodeo. Color me skeptical on this, and especially because I have yet to see a comprehensive strategic approach that the county wants to use to meet its legal obligations to support this Board of Elections. This is a core function of a county government. The project on Cox Avenue that's been planned is a wonderful project, but it is not a core function of county government. I see us falling down the priority list time after time after time. And I'm not satisfied with that, Mr. Love. I want to see the county do better for election services, and I want to see the county do better for the Board of Elections. And I'm not seeing it here. I'm off my soapbox.
Thank you, Jake. What I really want to stress here, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the passion and your clear candor on this issue. What I want to make sure comes across clear in this, because I don't think it came across clear when Robert presented it. And I'm not shirking Jake's question. I just think this is an important item. This timeline contemplates a temporary facility for the Board of Elections as it relates to warehousing. And so that didn't come out clear, but I want to make sure that it is, because I want us to be on the same page in this conversation. And that, I don't expect you to take that as something that you're really excited about. That's not why but I am making sure that we call it out here. And so Robert talked about it with the goal of with the dates that Robert specified, a February 27 move, trying to be in a location for a period of time so that we're not moving every year. So I wanted to make sure that was abundantly clear.
May I ask a question, Tim? And I think I shared this with you when we spoke, but planning and building a building in a year and a half is not likely. So, to me, the demolition of our building on Cox Avenue, the planning to start the affordable housing, the building, all of that, it would appear to me that there could be consideration made to be working on the plans for that site, getting bids, doing all of those things, and leave us put until all of those things are in place. Now, I know the county commissioners have made the decision, and I appreciate that and respect that, but I also know timeframes and what it takes to develop, plan, demolish, construct. All of those things are not going to be ready to happen in 2027? I'm sure it started and the planning has started, but why couldn't we stay put?
And thank you so much for raising that, and because that was what I was trying to communicate, but I think I missed the mark. I apologize.
It's okay.
So what I'm trying to communicate, and Corrine, maybe help me because we talked about this. The commitment is to making sure that y'all have the Cox Avenue location through the current election cycle with municipal, and then as we get closer, if we haven't found a solution that is workable, not perfect, but workable.
The temporary solution. Which?
Right, the temporary
temporary
spot.
solution. Then we will revisit the other project schedule. And, you know, Mr. Quinn, Jake makes a great point. You know, is the Cox Avenue project our priority? Is elections a mandated service? Yes, we know the answer to that. And I'm trying to say this in the most succinct way, but our commitment is to make sure that y'all have that location until we have an option that works, that is suitable. And so that.
Location is so important,
Absolutely.
just for security and safety, and we do operate 52 days, 52 weeks a year.
Yeah.
Our staff is very, very busy. We have to have a place where the public can walk in and register to vote whenever they want to. So all of that, being accessible and being in a safe place is very important to us. Even if we are in our own little bubble, we'd love to be in our own little bubble. If you want to throw us in with the rest of the county, we may have to settle for that, but I'm not sure we want to. But could we talk about it? Just talk about it.
Yeah.
And the location is everything, and I would love to see that property that the county owns that's overlooking Riverside Drive. Riverside Drive scares me to death because it is such a flood zone down there, and you saw it after Helene. It was just horrific. It was horrific.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we need to be that close to that kind of mayhem, basically. We need some place that's safe to us to walk in, to let people register to vote, to come in and get maps of the city, their precincts, whatever they need to do all year long. And we will operate year long, every day. Yeah.
And to note the feedback, and I'd like to jump, Devin, if we could, to the next slide because I think it ties well.
Okay.
And again, I apologize. So when we met with Corrine and team to talk through the priorities, these were what we documented. And in response from the team, the highest priority that was echoed back to us was proximity, and specifically being downtown.
Right.
And so we hear that, and what I say with priorities, and I'm just being honest, you know, we have to weigh priorities. Like, all priorities can't be created equally. If they are, we don't really have priorities. We're just, I think y'all get the adage here.
Mhm.
And so what we need to do is balance what are the most important priorities as we move forward. And this specifically relates and contemplates a lease, a temporary solution. As Corrine said, it is applicable, obviously, to a permanent solution as well. But the spirit of this when we collected it was for temporary purposes, and I'm just trying to be transparent here. And so as we look at these priorities, I think we just need to weigh our options and see how many boxes we're checking with some of these, which options are the most important to us collectively, and work forward. So I did want to clarify that. I think those are my follow-up notes.
You were talking about priorities, and again, what Jake was saying about core services. It seems as though the county has made the affordable housing project a priority, and it's not a core service. And again, I'm worried that we will get moved down the ladder when it comes to even a temporary facility. And you know what happened before was a lot of planning occurred, feedback was given, et cetera. But when we saw the plan for 35 Woodfin, I remember us not being very happy about that plan. I am concerned that the same thing will happen with even the temporary move. And can I be reassured by you all about that? I mean, you know, we know it might not be the perfect, but to me, those priorities up there are huge. and have to be taken into effect when we're looking at a temporary setting. And for us not to even have something in mind yet is also very concerning.
On the latter point, I think it's a great one, and I think uncertainty is always a challenge. If I stood before you and said that we had it solved, I would be lying, obviously. And so there's going to be a period of time where we have some uncertainty, where we're going to be looking for options, and I think we just, to the extent possible, that we can be comfortable and have open communication and talk about what those options are, I think we'll be better suited.
So definitely.
But to that point, we don't. And so, but as we look, if we say that being downtown is the most important of the priorities, I think there's trade-offs there, and we need to recognize what those are. We may have better options than ours. So
We would very much like to keep the dialogue open while the planning stage is still going on, so that we can be a little bit more satisfied than the board seems to be now. But we're just very, very eager to keep talking about it.
understood. And I would love for
And
us.
I know Robert has spent a great deal of time on this whole project, and I want to commend you on the time that you've spent, because I know how laborious it is to do the whole program before you even start designing a building. Thank you for that, but we would love to keep talking. If you just open the door and let us talk to you.
So thank you. And
Yeah.
what you just said is actually the reason for advanced planning.
Mhm. Yeah.
This is the largest advanced planning we've done to date.
Yeah.
On any specific facility.
Mhm.
Longest amount of time, absolutely the most number of meetings to try to get information pulled. And in this case, I'll specifically say pulled from elections into general services, documented, reviewed, redocumented, reviewed, redocumented, and prioritized. Signed off on, in a sense, by saying, I reviewed it, this meets what we've said. So the advanced planning part, before we ever go into design, having a voluminous amount of good and accurate information can help us to not have that plan that you don't like. And
Corinne-
Location is very important.
Excuse me, I have a question. Corinne, do you feel like that you signed off on the plan to move you to 53 Woodfin? And do you feel like you've signed off on these plans, or that they've just been handed to you and you were told this is the way it's going to be?
So I think that we have to remember that 35 Woodfin and the warehouse are different projects.
I know, but these projects are being approached in the same manner, which is the problem that the board has with both projects. When Corinne was presented with the plan for 53 Woodfin, there were no changes that could be made. We were on 3 floors. So that's not hearing what our needs are to make sure that our equipment, that our personnel is consolidated so that we can maintain the security that we're mandated to maintain. We are not trying to create something brand new. This is something Elections has been doing consistently, and actually our staff has done it very, very well. But now we're in fear that that's going to be impeded because our process is much different from any other that you're dealing with. I mean, any of the organizations, departments on here, do they have one of these? I'm serious when I say that. This is what we have to operate by. Everything we do, it gives us a date. It tells us what we have to do, how we have to do it, and then we have contingencies on what happens. And I don't know of a single department you have that has that. And at the same time, our staff has been put in a location where we have drop-in locations, and Election Services does not have any drop-in people. We don't have people that work at home and drop in every now and then to a little cubicle and work for 30 minutes and go back home. It doesn't happen. So that message was not heard.
Which then, in turn, makes us less well, more doubtful that the next part of the project is going to be any different. You know,
We just
have
want
this
to do our
information
job
already.
and do it effectively. And all of us are looking at this plan, and we've got 80 precincts that are going to have to come back to one location. Is it going to be on one side of the county? Or is it going to be centrally located so that all of our judges come back to a central location and nobody's having to drive twice as far as anybody else? Are they going to know how to get to that location? Because it's,
Out of the way.
you know, it's located centrally, or it's out in the county and they don't even know it's in Woodfin. We are training people to do these jobs, and now we're going to have to be training people to how do you get to the location that we're going to be. So yeah, it's disturbing, and I still don't see that anything we've said in past meetings has been heard.
That's the precedent that we feel, yeah,
I concur with that.
yeah. That's the precedent, and that's what's concerning about the future.
And when I look at other counties in this state, their election services are generally in a separate location. All of their facilities are together, so they're not having to try to figure out, we have staff here, and we have machines over here, and we have storage over here. And that's what we were promised, and now this is what we're getting.
The clarification or follow-up comment I would add, I think Robert's comment when he was talking about sort of the back and forth and the approvals was specific to our most recent interactions as it relates to storage or warehousing.
Okay.
Just what you need, wherever it is, the actual functional needs. That's not, meaning, I place the building right here, I raise this building. I've got the information that we need, including from elections, to design that facility.
But you had that, but you did have that information the last time around when we moved from here to 35, and the information didn't get heard. That's the part that we're concerned about, is the precedent that's been set between how we communicate and how Corrine communicates with the county planners. And that we hear you, didn't really process, in my way of looking at it, to a concrete positive outcome for what we did from here to 35. So how do we trust you to make sure that the next piece of this is going to be any different? The precedent has been set, and it's difficult to go in with a complete open mind when we've already had the experience that we've had. And I think that's part of Jake's concern
Definitely.
about that.
And anytime I walk into 35 Woodfin and I take the right and go to the Board of Elections window, I'm unhappy. I'm unhappy. I'm unhappy because of what it projects to the members of this community. I'm unhappy because of the working conditions it provides our wonderful staff. I don't see anything positive about it. We are not a county agency. We're a state agency, and I see no value added. But I really want to see a comprehensive approach, and I have yet to see it. The last time we saw it, it was in the capital plan for the erection of a new building on Cox Avenue. I realize that we are not going to do that. That's fine. But I have yet to see Plan B. Instead, we get, oh, well, here you're going to 35 Woodfin. Oh, and now we're going to do a temporary warehouse and then a permanent
Somewhere,
warehouse. Yeah.
sometime.
I got to be sold, and everything that I've seen up to this point does just the opposite. It tells me, be careful and understand that this board is going to be very hands-on with all facilities going forward. Do not assume that authority has been delegated to staff to answer these strategic issues, okay? And please communicate that up the chain. You're going to have to deal with a 5-member board every time now, because of the recent history. So, we'll deal, but we want to see something better than we, no, Jake, don't say we. I want to see something better than I've seen up to this point. But I think we, nearly everybody in the room, would agree with that.
I think that's great feedback. You know, if there's a different level of communication that's required, then we should identify what that is. I think Karine and I have talked about board dynamics and the role of the director in communicating, and that, you know, hasn't been clearly communicated, that was the desire, and if that's the desire of the Board of Elections, then we just need to treat it as such. But that, I would be clear that that is not typical, so.
Typical of what?
I wouldn't say it's typical for me to interact directly with a board on a project like this, and would typically expect that communication to happen from director to board. I think, you know, that, I think y'all have all served on other boards, and so.
But within county? Within this county, it's not typical? I'm not sure. I mean, this board is a little different.
This board is not typical.
It's not typical, so I'm trying to figure out what you were talking about.
That's exactly. I think
What other boards then within the county are you talking about?
I think just typical communication working through the director.
But it's not the typical department. It's a different structure.
And I think I've said I'm open to a
Yeah.
different form of communication.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure what you were talking about.
That's what we're asking,
Right.
just to keep it open so that we can keep discussing, so that you'll really understand our needs for the public, because we are serving the public. We're a state agency serving the public for elections. It's really important.
Courtney, if I may, I'm going to put a finer point on it.
Okay.
No surprises. 35 Woodfin was a surprise, and it was a terrible surprise. And I'm still upset every time I walk into that building and get my terrible surprise.
And we did put out,
Surprises are awful in our environment.
this board sent 2 resolutions, one to the county manager
So,
and one to the county commissioners. And those things that we expressed in there as concerns were totally ignored. We got an email back that said, we think that we're providing you with what we are forced to provide you with by giving you this nice new building. None of the concerns that we specified were ever dealt with. That's why we don't think anything's being heard.
but I also want to say that I want a much better relationship with the county. And I know that, I mean, before our meeting started, we had a closed session where we interviewed outside counsel. And we expect to retain outside counsel and be able to engage the county. And one of the things that we were telling these folks was how important a strong, effective relationship is. And the reason that you're hearing all this stuff from me is because I feel taken for granted. I feel as if that the trust that I had in the county has been abused. And now I feel the need to protect myself. I protect this board, protect the community. And that drives the interest in retaining outside counsel. So that we can craft a new agreement with Buncombe County so that we know where our lanes are and we stay in them. Because right now, it's too murky. We need the water to be more clear. And we're going to get there, but understand, even though you're hearing all this negativity from yours truly, I really want a strong, healthy working relationship with Buncombe County. But it's going to take 2. And I need the county to step up and be an honest partner, equals with this board. We rely on the county a great deal. And the county has done a fabulous job of providing resources for the Buncombe County Board of Elections. But that trust level, we need to boost the trust level. And I think both parties are going to need to work very assiduously on that very thing in order to achieve what we used to have, in order to get back to what we used to have a few years back. So please, Send it on up the chain. I mean, we really want to work with Buncombe County. But we expect Buncombe County to work with us, too. Not dictate, but work with us, collaborate with us. Thank you.
Director Duncan, I'm sorry.
Off the soapbox
I was
again.
intently staring at Jake and poor Green's trying to get my attention. And
Corner spot.
You need the rear view mirror. I swear to
you
goodness.
should have brought it for me so I could.
Well, I never did put it in the budget.
I'm sorry, Green.
It's okay. You need to say something.
I do. And this is a public meeting. This is a public body, a state entity, and so I have to at least add, Jake, I can appreciate your passion. I would ask that we be careful about suggesting that Buncombe County hasn't been supportive of the Board of Elections, or that we met none of your concerns as it relates to 35 Woodfin. Because honestly, I don't feel that that's true. I also don't feel that it's good for public discourse to say these types of things. Did we meet every one of your expectations? Did we deliver you something that was perfect? We did not, and I'm not here to suggest otherwise, but to suggest that we're not a partner throughout elections, to suggest that none of the feedback provided on 30-foot Woodfin was accepted is not a fair characterization of this.
Well, there's feedback from the staff and there's feedback from the board. And what you were hearing was comments about feedback from the board was not heeded by the county. And I think that is true. I think it would be very hard to say otherwise. I think that y'all have done a really good job of listening to Director Duncan and her staff about specific needs, whether it's needs for storage space or working space, security issues, that kind of thing. That hasn't been my quibble. My quibble has been that, especially with the move from 77 to here, and then from here to 35, is that there was never any grand design revealed to us, except that we were moving to Cox Avenue, to a brand new building that was going to be constructed. It would be highly worthwhile, I believe, for county management to have that plan B and tell us what it is. Now, we've gotten a pretty good idea of what it is based on what we've seen over the past year. But it happened. We didn't see it. We didn't review it. We didn't buy into it. It was foisted upon us. And this is just one more element of it. Piecemeal. That was my issue earlier. You're piecemealing this thing instead of giving us a strategic solution to our facilities needs. So I still hope to see that someday.
I just want to offer a solution. I think that what we're identifying here, and there is definitely some disagreement about how the planning on 35 Woodfin went. And I think that process would have gone much better if there were formal, we're at this stage. We'll have the board, basically gathering buy-in on that. And we get to places where we're kind of doing a more official, okay, at this stage, we're getting buy-in on this stage. At this next stage, we get buy-in on this stage. And that did not happen. Mm-hmm. So, at the 35 Woodfin, it was very unclear to me whether we truly were moving there or not. And then when we got the plans in July, they were done. And so that, talk about no surprises, that was a surprise to me.
Right.
And so that's what we want to avoid. That's what you're all expressing about the fear of moving forward with the warehouse. Will things turn out that way? So I think that what we need to do is figure out a formal process where we're gathering buy-in from this board about what's happening.
Certainly part of it.
Mm-hmm. And then that would avoid the he said, she said about the information was delivered, information was not. We would all be at this, the table. And I think that's what Jake's requesting with direct communication with the board, just having something more formal. And I think that's.
I think it makes it more clear for you guys. It helps us know our process, helps Corinne know in communicating and where the board stands, and to me, it offers clarity. But I will share this with you as a new member of the board. 35 Woodfin and the way our situation is fragmented is very challenging. And I think that's what you hear in the former chair, and that it's not operationally the way I think anybody envisioned it being. And so it makes it very difficult for us to do our job. I also think that any sort of shared space is challenging at best. And I'm not sure why all of that is not being integrated in the conversations as well. I don't think anybody's trying to be difficult, and we want to cooperate as much as possible, but I can tell you as an outside person and as a new board member, I don't know that I've ever seen a department moved more. We are never in the same location, never able to stabilize and manage. We're here. We're still meeting here, but we're over there on 3 floors. People are everywhere, and our operations are everywhere. And now our warehouse is kind of everywhere. And I can just tell you, based on what was shared with you in our statutes, we can't operate like that. And that's the difficulty that you're hearing, is that we're in a building now that we're all over the building. And that doesn't create a very efficient team approach to what we do and what we provide to this community and to our constituents and accessibility for our voters. And that's what we're charged with. So I think that's the difficulty now, is that building is very challenging for us, and we're there anyway. And then now what are we going to face otherwise in our next situation? So we'll work on a resolution. How do we come up with a process? The board will certainly have more input, and let's see if we can't find a way to help us resolve this. Help us help you, help us do our job. That would be the best solution for everybody. Yes, sir.
Chair Weiner, you got me thinking. You're so right. We have moved so often.
Yeah.
Because
It used to be my pediatrician.
well, no. I mean, the presidential election of 2008, we were 181 College. 2012, we were 35 Woodfin. 2016, we were 77 McDowell.
Right.
2020, miracle, 77 McDowell again. But 2024, we weren't there anymore. Wow, we move a lot.
Just feedback I think that you guys should consider and think about in terms of how we function, but also why we function, because I think that's the critical piece for our voters and for this county.
Well, Glenda, I think there's another aspect here. Yes, we depend on the county, but you're forgetting that the county depends on us. The county is mandated also to hold elections. And our staff and this department has done an excellent job of doing so. They're award-winning. We've increased our voter registration. We've increased our participation. And you depend on us. We're telling you that what we're facing is not adequate to what we need to do for you and for your mandate and our mandate.
Corinne?
I just am wanting to make sure that we're being clear about things, and I feel like we haven't really said concretely something that I'm feeling, which is the thought that this is an opportunity to fix 35 Woodfin 2. Is that correct?
That is how.
To be considered, yes.
That's how I've been looking
And
at
I'm
it.
not sure that that's been translated in this conversation.
And actually, when I saw the slideshow, the PowerPoint presentation that the commissioners saw, that was the thing that jumped right out at me. The fact that consideration was being given to finding an existing building that would fit the need. And I realized that that slide presentation was about filling the need for storing materials. But a building that can store materials might be able to store people as well and provide good workspace. And so I saw that opportunity in there simply because we were looking at options. And options are good to have.
So I'd like to respond to that, just so we're all very clear and on the same page, and that way we can be transparent. So when I opened for Robert, I'm trying to be clear that we were here specifically to speak about storage and warehousing solutions as it relates to elections and the greater county. And so that's the scope of what I'm here to discuss, and I'm not here to discuss consolidation of existing facilities into a single. So I'd like to be clear with that.
I understand. And when you made that remark at the top of your talk, I knew exactly what you were saying, but I'm grateful that Director Duncan suggested to the board, hey, board, why don't you let these folks know what you have in mind? And what we want is the centralized facility, get everything under one roof. And it's an aspiration, but it's one that is in front of us all the time.
Well, it's one that we previously thought we had
Right,
achieved, too.
Right. We thought we were getting that. And just so everybody knows, everybody who's in the audience, that was put into the capital plan a long time ago. Was Trina still here? Might have been.
Yeah.
I mean, and understand everybody, Trina Parker Velez left right after the 2019 municipal election. So we really thought that this new building was going to be constructed on Cox Avenue. So that was just a huge change, and it happened
I'm
all
gonna
one
take-
night.
Take the opportunity to close our discussion, because I think we've exhausted what you came and were prepared to discuss today. I hope you've heard our heart and what we're trying to accomplish and what we hope the county hears from this board. But at the same time, I also want to extend my thanks to both of you for being here and for sharing, and hopefully you've gotten some new information today and know that we want to be active in the decisions that are made with the county and on our behalf. So again, thank you for your countless hours and time. I know it doesn't feel very appreciated, but at this point, but it is.
Thank you.
It truly is.
Understand that I will follow whatever my leadership directs me to do.
Yes, sir.
Do a darn good job of it.
Yes,
So I'm
sir.
a good architect, I'm a good planner.
Yep.
So when
I'm
that
sure you are.
facility is built, it'll functionally meet your needs. However, leadership makes those decisions.
Sure.
I simply get to do it.
Yep.
So please forgive me if I communicated wrong. I'm just trying to communicate
You did
what
great.
we've gathered from you, to show you what we have gathered today as planning only.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you both so much.
Y'all have done, Mr. Love, thank you so much for coming.
Glad to. You'll have to excuse me, I have kids to pick up.
Thank you.
Back to our agenda.
All right, luckily Victoria's still here.
She's like, no, I'm not. This is just a figment of me over here. It's not really me.
So handing out an update on the municipal billing, and to kind of tell you where we are on that, I think that we're at a point of conclusion, so this shouldn't take very long. All right, so we talked about the statute for municipal billing. Next slide, please.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Started talking faster than, there we go. All right, so, so this statute requires that election offices bill municipalities. And we've talked about those before. So each municipality and special district shall reimburse the county board of elections for the actual cost involved in the administration required under this section. So we know that to be true. And so we have had some changes since 2020 as a state and as a county for how municipals are run. They used to be on odd-numbered years, and now they're tending to move to even-numbered years. And so that has caused some challenges. The statute was written for when it was the odd-numbered years, very clear billing, and that's just not true anymore. So we have to just figure out what do we do with this. So on the next slide, just shows the shift to even year elections. So 4 of our, 6 municipalities and then our special district have moved to the even year elections, and they did that in 2019. So that was when that legislation went through. And we had our first even year election in 2020. That was the primary, and that was the city of Asheville, where we moved the city of Asheville to that election. And then we had 3 in the 2020 general election. And now, now that that move makes those elections coincide with the rest of the elections. So all of the county elections and up to federal. And so that's kind of the stage that we're in. So on the next slide, we started exploring, what are our options to deal with this billing issue. So we surveyed, and by we, Victoria did, surveyed the other North Carolina counties, evaluated some different billing approaches. So we worked with Strategy and Innovation, we made models, we looked at what other counties were doing, and kind of brainstormed of how do we work on this. We also consulted with finance and budget and other county departments as well. So that took a lot of work, but we did come to some conclusions. So on the next slide is what we are going to be suggesting. So the State Board of Elections legal team reviewed, our models and our plans, or our not plans, but our ideas for solving the problem, and they really gave the opinion that the statute requires municipalities to only pay for the actual costs involved. So that's very literal. In the last election, the city of Asheville's referendums pushed us to a 19-inch ballot. So that was a direct cost. Because we had those referendums on that ballot, it made us spend more money. So we billed the city of Asheville for that. So that's what is meant by there. And
does it cost us any more in programming?
Like more space maybe on
No,
a flyer.
does the ES&S charge us any more for
Oh,
a larger
yeah.
ballot?
Yes.
So that would be direct cost, not just the cost of the
Yes.
ballot itself.
Yep, another good example. Yes. Yeah, there were other direct charges. That was just one example. Thank you, Marianne. Actually, Victoria has that listed on the next one. For example, space on the ballot, legal advertising, additional ballot pages, and extra supplies, bags, envelopes, those kind of things.
We don't have that. Okay, there.
So what we are suggesting is to not go with the models because that is not direct billing. and it's not supported by the state's legal opinion.
The models,
So
We
we
would've billed
had,
them more than they-
yes.
They were allowed to.
So we would have, our models incorporated things like registration, managing the registration database and those kind of things. But, this is the most safe method of billing. So that's what we're suggesting that we do, which is basically continue what we're doing, but with looking at, like what Mary Ann suggested, it's going to be very nominal. This is not very much money, but billing for those things that we can identify as direct cost, like space on the ballot. And that would be even numbered municipalities are billed that way. Odds are billed the way that we currently bill them. It's very clear. But then can go ahead and update the agreements so that we can accomplish our other goals of having good communication about what types of things the municipalities and the Board of Elections needs to be communicating about. And go ahead and get those updated. Question?
Do you have a detailed list of the items for our odd year billing?
We can get that.
If we have, and my question would be, all of those things are still going to be in the even years,
But
maybe harder to determine, but
you're doing them anyway.
Yeah, the test
That's the
basically
problem. You're
is,
doing
would
them
you have
anyway.
done them?
Yeah.
That's if you would have done them already, then
that's what,
It's not
even if
adding.
it takes more time,
Yeah.
or whatever.
well, I was just wondering if there's any other areas to identify, like candidates.
yes, and
If you have additional candidates that you have to deal with.
yes, and yeah.
Okay.
The cost that I was able to identify that we could direct bill for would be the number of candidates that you have on a ballot, and the responses, so like the number of write-in responses. It's very, very detailed.
Yeah.
But when I came up with an estimate of what we would have charged them in the 2024, it was like $600 for the city of Asheville, and $200 for the other four municipalities.
Well, I'm not talking about just the number of candidates on a ballot. I'm talking about the fact that you have to
Work with them.
work with those additional candidates, which you would not have had to do in
Well,
the general if they had
You would do
changed.
you would do it in the odd numbered year, but would
Yeah.
you? But do you break out that kind of cost?
I mean, that would be something, I think, like Nate, who is our campaign finance, we would have to, calculate the number of hours that
Right.
we worked with each candidate. It'd probably take out,
Any benefit of actually
Exactly,
trying to
we're not
figure it
looking at
out.
much money
It'd be
anyway.
really hard to.
Yeah.
Chair Weiner,
More.
this is the question I want the answer to, but I don't want to ask the question. And I think the easiest way for people to understand the difference is just tell us what the numbers are for the even numbered year municipalities, and then what the numbers are for the odd numbered year municipalities. And I think there's going to be a huge difference.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, for odd numbered, it's about 20 to 30,000 is what we bill each municipality.
Okay.
Versus the even of 600 or whatever you said.
In the 600, that includes a primary and a general.
So.
Right.
That's too much.
So what they said all along was true. The municipalities save money by moving them to even numbered years.
You bet they do.
Curses foiled again.
Well, they save money, but I'm not sure, I'm not, I think we might have gotten
the bad end of the
bad
stick.
end of that deal.
Director Duncan?
So to that point, I did contact the State Board of Elections, Sam Hayes, and he called me back on this topic, which is fantastic. And so it's brought to their attention. He agreed it was something to look into, to try to gain some clarity on how this happened. So that's a step
A
in.
legislative tweak
Yes.
is all we need.
Yeah,
Oh, good. Good. Thank you for reaching out.
Yeah, it's good.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Very good.
So, just to kind of summarize, we will bill the direct costs that we see, and we're happy to share line items with you if you want that, and then update our municipal agreements, which are standard.
I do have
but
one other question.
they
Why
help
do we
clarify.
consult finance, budget, and other county departments? Because they don't run elections.
We wanted their input. And when we started talking 2 years ago about billing municipalities, they were very interested because they want to make sure that they keep a
Bless
good
you.
relationship with the municipalities. So I think that was the driver behind that, of just kind of being aware of what was coming down the pipeline.
Glenda, I just
Okay.
want to thank Ms. Pickens for, it had to be endless hours of work you did to bring home less than
Thank you.
$1,000. What the heck?
Really? $600, $200.
But thank you so much. I know the level of detail required to do the cost stuff, and it is a pain in the neck, especially if you don't have a system that collects the data the way you need it collected.
There's nothing better than
Wow.
cost accounting.
Yeah. Well, this is good because, no, but I think that your experience can help inform the state director and staff there about the realities of it. And that's actually, hopefully, worthwhile information for others to have. But thanks a lot, because I know that had to be a bear of a project.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Victoria.
For less than $1,000. I can't believe it. My hopes were so high.
All right, I'm going to actually turn the floor over again to Director Duncan to begin our hearing process for the voter challenges.
Yes, so we're to our final agenda item. So, wait a second. Oh, because of the. Okay.
Thanks, ACAB.
We're going to miss you so much.
Yep. So, last time that you met, Nagy was presiding or in my space for the meeting. You did the preliminary hearing for this. So I'm going to just go over the steps because this isn't something that we commonly do. It's definitely one of our functions. But I wanted to say two things first before I go through the process. One is that this particular challenge is a sensitive one, so I just want to make sure that we remember that. So being careful whenever we can, not saying names and things like that. And just also that it might be hard for people in the audience. We don't know if there's family members here or anything like that. So I wanted to say that for everyone, and that it's kind of it's an awkward situation, but the reason that we do it is because we want due process in everything that we do. So this is an example of the quasi-judicial functions that this board has, and not all boards have that. So that's acting as a legal entity in certain situations, and this is one of those. And again, that's for due process. So there's an awkwardness to it, but it's for a very good reason. So the challenges that we're hearing today are the ones that were brought by Thomas Neubauer, who is here. Great. And we held a preliminary hearing on August 19th, and the challenges are based on the voters having passed away. So what we're going to do in this meeting today are first to give the challenger the opportunity to get more information if desired. It is not required. And then I'll summarize the research that we have on the challenged voters. It is required that I explain what the qualifications to vote are, so I'll just do that right now, take care of it. So the qualifications are that you are a U.S. citizen, that you live in the county where you're registering, and that you are 18 years old, at least 18 years old when you're voting, and then to not be serving a felony sentence. So
And
those
resided there for 30 days.
Yes, yep, yes, that's for registration. And then the next step in the process will be that each challenged voter's name will be called, and them or a representative of, this is part of the awkward part of this, can be called to also provide information if they would like. That's this due process piece. We have to make sure that we're hearing from everyone in a full hearing. After all of that has been completed, then the board can make determinations on the registration status. And when we are speaking to any of the entities, whether that's a challenger, even me, and anyone who's challenged, that has to be done under oath. So we'll be administering oaths a bunch of times today. And that oath is, do you swear or affirm that the statements and information you shall give in this hearing with respect to your identity and qualifications to be registered and to vote shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. So once we've gone through all of the challenged voters, that they've had a chance to speak, then the board will use the evidence that we've had here and what was provided previously to decide whether to keep or remove the voters' registrations. And we've looked over them, so there are categories of them, and I can share that. And then a motion should be made to finalize the decisions. And since we're in hearing, the language is, if the challenge is sustained, that will remove the voter. So that's yes, the challenger's assertion is you agree, so you would like it removed, or the challenge is overruled, don't agree, keep the registration. Are there any questions on
And
procedure?
what have we done so far to prepare for this hearing?
So,
We have sent mailings to.
oh, thank you very much.
Yes.
Yes. I was about to say, I emailed you the challenge guide. Yes, so when you decided that we needed to move to a full hearing, then we sent letters to all of the challenged voters. We contacted the challenger too. I think they were here though, so already knew that that a hearing was going to take place, what day it was, made sure that they knew that they could attend if needed, just made sure that they understood the process. And we did get some calls explaining.
We did get calls?
We did get calls, yep.
And you'll bring that up for each person's name?
So for,
that is
thank you.
challenged.
So for each, we have the challenged, like documents for each one. You'll see all of those so you can look at them. And then once I go under oath, I'll let you all know the research that we did too, so that we can talk about each one.
The name.
You've seen those already?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic.
Unless
Great.
there's additional information.
There is just the research that we did.
10, right? 10 names?
Yep, 10 names.
I haven't seen that. Did you all get something I didn't get?
That was in our.
I have
No, we
not.
circulated them at the
We
last
circulated.
meeting.
Okay, last meeting then, okay.
All right.
All right.
So at this time, I believe the challenger, Thomas Newberry, you have the opportunity to speak first. If there's additional information you would like to share.
Yeah, I mean.
Gotta put him
I need
under
to,
oath.
I have to put you under oath if you're gonna.
Come on over.
Raise your right hand and place your left hand on the Bible. Do you swear or affirm that the statements and information that you shall give in this hearing with respect to your identity and qualifications to be registered and to vote shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
Where do you want me to stand?
Right over here with me.
So I'm not going to add any additional evidence for today, but I just wanted to give like a short introduction of how I got on this process. So, you know, after today, and if I bring more challenges in the future, that you all know what I did to do it. So, again, my name is Thomas Neubauer. I'm a citizen in Buncombe County, and I believe that's important to have free and fair elections. So, since I believe in this as a concerned citizen, I decided to conduct an audit of the Buncombe County voter rolls to identify any ineligible voters who may still be on the rolls. And North Carolina General Statute, Chapter 163, Article 8, outlines this right that private citizens possess. It states that a challenge procedure other than on day of primary or election, it says that any registered voter of the county may challenge the right of any person to register, remain registered, or vote in such county. No such challenge may be made after the 25th day before each primary, general, or special election. Corrine mentioned earlier about the different ways that you can challenge voters, but I'm only concerned for today on the fact that the voters are deceased. So that's what these 10 voter challenges are. And it's a nonpartisan audit. I found Republicans, Democrats, unaffiliates, and even some libertarians who I believe are deceased, and based on my evidence, which was death certificates, should be enough to prove it. These challenges, without mentioning names, I tried to make it as even, as fair in regards to how the voter rolls are in Buncombe County, as 5 of them are registered Democrats, 4 are registered Republicans, and 1 are registered unaffiliated. They're all 98 years old or older as of the current voter registration data from the state. None of these voters have voted after the November 3rd, 2020 election, so they've been inactive for a while. A few of them even last voted in 2018. And all the dates that is on the death certificates that says they passed away, those after the last time they voted. So that's about it, I have to say, but just a quick introduction so you all know where I came from. Thank you.
Thomas, thank you. We appreciate your time. Thank you very much. We now give the opportunity for each of the challenged.
Me first.
Corrine first. Place your right hand. You swear or affirm that the statements and information you shall give in this hearing with respect to your identity and qualifications to be registered and to vote shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I swear. All right, so for these 10 challenged voters, we looked through our data versus the challengers' data. And what we found was correct, that none of the voters have voted. So I think that would just give you a level of comfort there. So that that's good. And then that they do fall into 2 basic categories, and we'll go through each one of these. But what we found is that almost all of these voters showed up on our non-matching list. So I gave you the.
I'm sorry, I can't hear. What list?
It's called the non-matching list.
Masting?
Is this better?
Matching, okay. Sorry, I
Yes.
just can't hear, I'm so sorry.
No, keep checking me
Where are
on
we
it.
the-
Yes, we'll
on the
get
far-
there. It'll be
far right?
annoying for a
Okay.
while, but we'll get there, and I'll
Okay.
I'll get this mic. I gave you all the list maintenance procedures, and it's a book, right? There's a lot that goes on. So for deaths in North Carolina, we're provided the 2 DHHS lists, and that's a collaboration between the State Board of Elections and the Department of Health. And there's 2 lists in there. There's one that's its exact match. That is everything matches our registration database, and we just remove those. There's another list that's it's not quite perfect match, and that's what these are. So our procedure, and we talked about due process at the beginning of this this meeting, is, and that's what is happening here. So what you decide will have had due process in it, which is wonderful. Is that if we're not sure, then we don't remove. So we saw, and I can go through each one of these, and we can do that after you've given each one, called the names, and see if there's anyone who wants to also give information. But basically, there's either a name mismatch, it's not quite the same, or a date of birth mismatched. We found some of those. There was one that didn't show up in any of our lists. And then there looks like there's one that we just missed. We made a mistake and we missed it. So that is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them were name mismatches, 2 date of birth mismatches. One didn't show up on either of our lists, and then one that we missed. So that's what we found there. And we're happy to go through each one of those to make sure that you're comfortable with each and give you whatever data that you need to make decisions on these.
Chair Weiner, I'm wondering if staff has any recommendations on these, or you're just going to give them to us and say decide.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
board. The
Yes,
board.
but you usually have
That's
a
the board's
recommendation,
thing.
so I was
Yes.
wondering. Okay. I understand.
Yeah. Yes, I think that a difference is that due process is happening in this meeting, where staff was just deciding. Another point of clarity, kind of just like what we were talking about with the municipal billing, is the state is also looking at how do we clarify this particular one, right? Because we're just having to decide, do we remove this or not? The name's doesn't quite match. What's the criteria there? So that it's on their radar for clarifying this particular topic.
Okay, so one more question then. If the board decides to sustain the challenge on one of these voter registrations, would that person go to removed or inactive?
Removed.
Okay.
They're all inactive currently.
Okay. Okay. Just double checking. Thank you.
All right, so now I will call out each name and ask if there's someone here to represent or speak on their behalf. So the first name is Golda Tillery Cox. Mary June Christensen. Sue D. Haney. Betty Jean Wilson Cobble. Ruth Crook Smith. Rachel Page Carnes. Eugene Raymond Miller. Pauline C. Cassada, W.C. Hensley Jr., Wesley James Masterjohn. Is there anyone in the audience to speak on behalf? Hearing and seeing none, Director Duncan, if it's the pleasure of the board, if you need any additional information, I can circulate, let you see the list and the supporting documents.
Yep, and basically what we did is we put them in categories, so.
By grouping.
6 and.
Yep, these are the name mismatches. These are the date of birth mismatches. This one was not on the list.
By not on the list, you mean they weren't registered in our
They
system
didn't-
at all?
Sorry, very good clarification. All of these are registered voters in our system. They didn't appear on the DHHS list.
I still can't hear. I'm sorry. Is this mic on? Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can't hear.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but it has to be right up to your mouth before I can hear. Before it,
Maybe at 35 Woodfin, our AV will be better.
can it be turned up?
If we just know which floor it's on.
And which year we get to use it.
Okay.
Be nice, everyone.
You have an out of control group of people.
But Courtney
we're
asked a
hearing
very
you,
good
Jake.
question, and I want to make sure that we're clarifying that. So yes, all these people are in the voter rolls. We found them. That particular one didn't show up on the state list that told us to remove. So we didn't have
You
that
mean
one on the
state
list.
list, meaning from the Department of Health saying they were
Yep,
deceased?
that match. Yep, correct.
They did not show up.
Correct. And there's different reasons for that, and maybe it happened in a different state, something, I don't know. But all I know is it was not on the list.
Okay. So name mismatches mean that sometimes they put a first name down and a middle name, and then they registered again and didn't put a middle name or just
No,
put
it's
a...
one registration, so it's a difference between what the death certificate that the challenger provided and what we had in our system.
I see.
And then on the matching list, they've used their middle name as their first name, or common ways that people have variations of their name.
That, I don't know if the list will help, but it's pretty obvious.
What's pretty obvious?
When you look at them, you'll see like
That it is the same person?
Yeah, you can see that it matches, but maybe they have a maiden name in one place and a middle name in another place.
Where's the date of birth? I'm just glad to not be on the list.
I don't think we're gonna be able to look at that.
So on
Okay,
the date of birth mismatch, we don't have any information to
match.
match. But you all knew it because of,
It gets put into our system. It
at the
goes
beginning, when they're
when they register.
Is there any way to check on dates that don't match up by checking the birth certificates of people who have that name?
We don't have access to that.
You don't have to access to that? That's the only way to tell.
Can I ask, Thomas, did you say, what was the age on all of these people?
98?
They're all 98 or older.
98 or older.
Well, it's like from January 1st.
Right.
Yes.
And I do have voter profiles that have, it says age on it, but, and
Not
it
the
just,
date of birth.
you know what the voter profiles are, it has the basic information. So if you want to see those, I have them.
Yes, there you go. It's 98.
Yeah.
Right, so this is the same here, I'm sure. 26.
Golden, Tillery.
There's another question. The one that was an error with this, where is that one? It's not in that
Right
file.
here.
Oh. I want to see what y'all do. It's a trick, Sally.
Yeah, so that one was on the list, but we we just missed it. And how we do it is by going down this spreadsheet of all of these little lines. So, you know, we probably just skipped over it.
I know I do. That went on the different kinds.
Did it go up on mine?
Here's your clips.
I'm gonna run to the restroom now.
Courtney's going to get some new hearing aids, and I'm going to get some new glasses.
Can we sustain all 10 at one vote, or do we have to do them individually?
You can do them all if that's what is decided.
I think that's what they were asking, if there was a collective recommendation to sustain them all. So I'll ask. That's why I'm not sure what to do.
The only thing that was added was put into categories like this.
Yeah,
is
they were
mismatch,
they were
this
divided
is-
by the groupings. Yeah.
Can you get by me? You're a skinny girl.
Standing around staring that way. No, that's AK's.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, we'll get that one. That needs to go back wherever it's supposed to go at the
That
office.
was the minutes very close. Rachel.
Oh, thank you.
You guys are keeping them grouped by,
Yeah, I've got two.
yeah, and then there's one
There's
by
your clip.
itself is the
Mismatched.
last one. I just didn't know if we kept the paper clips and stuff.
There's 4 clips right there if you want to pass them.
I'm just wondering, you've got 2 date mismatches? So I know one date, but I just don't know the other
Remember the
date.
birth date.
They're both birthday.
They're both
Both
birth
birth
dates.
dates. And we don't have either one of those. We just know how old they were when they passed away.
The day, this was the day, and then this one was the year.
So one had the day was not matching,
Right, year, but the day was wrong.
and then the other one, the year was
The year
not
was-
matching.
How long? What was
The
difference?
year was only 1 year, and the day was only 1 day.
So probably a fifth instead of a sixth.
Yeah, easy to do, yeah.
Okay.
Other dates?
Well, I think it's really important that they haven't voted.
Pardon my density.
Oh, no, let's look.
Okay. So this-
Oh, I'm sorry. It's not from the certificate. It's from we didn't remove it because on the mismatched list, so in our system, we had this.
Not the form.
Yep, no, see?
What a dumb question.
No, it wasn't at all. It was
over the state flag. Man.
It was a very good question.
Bless his little heart.
It's hard to be the only boy.
So in a mixed match list, missed from list. Wesley James. Wesley James.
I'll tell you, having just dealt with a whole lot of this kind of paperwork myself, birth certificates, death certificates, that kind of stuff, it is amazing how many are inaccurate.
Yeah.
We had to go to court to get death certificates corrected.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that the register?
Yes.
I'll tell you who does it, my sister-in-law. She takes care of the whole thing in New York.
Corinne, don't we have a relationship with our local registrar to
The
get
address
local?
matches here, though, on this one, with the date of birth matched, our records, the date of the registration, the addresses match. So it has to be the same person.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's the one they missed.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the one they
That
just
one.
missed.
That one's.
Okay.
Yes, Marianne, we also work with the Register of Deeds for locally.
Locally, and how often do you get that report?
That one we do on demand. So when we get the DHHS one, which is once a month, then we on demand.
You
that
just
one.
request one at that time from the Register of Deeds?
Mhm.
Do you come up with differences on those?
Different.
I mean,
different
when you get the state
Oh.
one and then you get the local one, are there
Uh,
differences sometimes?
Yes.
So we get two of them first before the state gets them sometimes?
Sometimes.
They have a quality improvement process at the Register of Deeds.
Oh, that's another very good operation in the county. Yes.
Who's brought that one up? I came real close.
Oh, about 35. I keep that ace up my sleeve. I don't want to play it.
Yeah.
But if need be.
No, I'm okay. Thank you. Sometimes, but I don't expect a 3.5 hour meeting. So having reviewed the documents, Board, and there were no speakers to challenge, we can entertain a motion to sustain all 10 of the voter challenges
to be removed. If that is the pleasure of the board, do I
I'll
hear
make
a
that
motion? Okay. Mary Ann, do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So the motion carries to sustain the voter challenges and remove the voters.
Thank you, sir.
All right, staff will start work on that tomorrow. I would expect that they would all be removed, and we'll do the process that we normally do with those removals.
And Thomas, thank you for your efforts on behalf of the voters. Thank you. Also, the final agenda item on our agenda is to,
Next
our
meeting
next
date.
meeting date is September 24th.
So we as staff don't have anything for the September 24th date. We reserved it, thinking that maybe there would be things that the board wants to cover.
I'd suggest we keep it because Glenda's going to be calling our attorneys to be, and we might want to revisit that.
Or when is it on our
And
agenda
that's-
to start thinking about the MOU?
And that's up to you
That's
all.
what I'm thinking about. We might,
Be a place we could use
that
it.
might be a place we could use it, and
Because we're gonna get into the- Yeah, so I will reach out to the attorneys tomorrow and then work with Corinne to put together a formal letter asking them to accept our consideration and that they've been identified as our prospective attorneys of record. So we would send them a letter. I'll reach out by phone just to let them know that's forthcoming. And then we'll meet again at 3:30 on the 24th to discuss how we want to move forward with them and with the work on the MOU.
Can I make one comment, Madam Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
oh,
I think it's very fortunate that we have caught them in the design phase when they're still making plans, and we may be able to change their avenue of their direction, where they want to put us and what they want to do with us. So
From your lips to God's ear.
we'll see. So I think this was very nice that they came and talked to us, and I think that they heard us today. So let's see what happens.
Mary Ann.
are we moving to Wednesdays? The 24th is a Wednesday?
Oh,
It is a Wednesday because there was a schedule conflict with somebody on the board. Because I remember there was a discussion about whether it should be Tuesday or Wednesday, but somebody couldn't do
Okay,
Tuesday, so they decided on
That's fine.
Wednesday just for this meeting, but we are not in general.
Okay, just checking.
Yep, just for this.
and I won't be here. Nagy will.
Oh, we love Maggie. She'll be
All right. Hearing no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Gladly.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.